Welcome to another episode of First Line Secrets. I'm Theresa Puckett, and I'm really happy to be here with you today. Today, you and I are going to have a little chat about parents. And in a previous episode, I was talking a lot about mother versus mothering, but this is a little bit of a different take on parents. This is talking about your parents. And it's not about necessarily how you get along with them or how you got along with them. Rather, it is about your internal dialogue and your internal relationship with them, really. And so we're going to take a look at various things. So I'm just going to say, I believe from all of my experience coaching, talking to friends, family, resenting our parents is a very common feeling, common theme. And I'm just going to be really honest. I have resented my parents, earlier in life for sure. And I want to talk about how that shows up for you if that is a dynamic that you are currently dealing with, facing. I don't want to say embracing, because I don't think anybody embraces. Well, I don't think many people embrace resenting their parents, but some may. When we resent our parents, like it's almost like the same thing. It's a different way of saying that we're blaming our parents. And pick your parent, right? You can blame one parent for one thing and one for another, or both for one thing. Whatever the details are going to be specific to you. But we're talking about the general dynamic of resenting one or both parents is like blaming them for something that happened to you, something that you can't do, something that you didn't do that maybe held you back from something else, blaming them in some way. And when this is a dynamic that we fall into, what we're doing is we're making ourselves smaller, and we're sort of blaming them, giving them the responsibility for something that happened in the past, but we're not taking responsibility for our own present and moving forward. It's almost like we're letting ourselves off the hook because we're carrying this ball and chain around and being in some level of unforgiveness of our parent. So when that happens, it's almost like it's some way where we feel not enough. And oftentimes what can happen is we're in this not feeling enough, and we feel like we either can't do something because we weren't given this chance or that chance or whatever it was, or when we have kids or when we are in the parenting or mentoring kind of role, we are now going to be tending to push people, whether it's our kids, our peers, our direct reports, toward something that we feel like we maybe deserved, didn't get a chance to have, and we are doing this thing to sort of compensate in some way. It's a common dynamic. It's not a necessary dynamic, but I'm just trying to highlight some of these dynamics. But we're holding ourselves stuck. We're holding ourselves stuck because we're not taking responsibility for where we are right now as adults, and we are not then truly observing other people for how they are, because we're still stuck in this sort of childlike pattern from our childhood of this part of me was not acknowledged, recognized, seen, allowed to flourish, and so I'm stuck in this way. This part of me is stuck, and since I'm stuck, I can't fully open to maybe myself, maybe others. Anyway, there are consequences to this. Okay, that's on one side of the spectrum over here. Way over here on the other side of the spectrum, there are other people or other aspects of life where we or others idolize their parents. Okay, I've seen this. I have friends and family for whom this is true. The idolization of mother, father, or mother and father and their relationship. I had a very good friend one time who just idolized and held his parents up on such a high pedestal that he never got married because even though he felt so much, he could not marry because he was so afraid that he would not be able to meet the standard that he felt was his parents' relationship. And so it was like this idolatry, really, the super putting up on a pedestal. And when that is the dynamic, and it's not one or the other, we can resent a parent for X, Y, and Z things, but idolize them in another way. So it's much more than just black or white here. But when we're idolizing a parent, things that people can say when this is an extreme internal dynamic, you can get a sense for it by like, oh, well, it was good enough, my parents did this for me and it was good enough for them and it's good enough for me, so it's good enough for my kids. As if, everybody is the same and times don't change or what have you. But it really can hold us back from feeling our own heart and our own spirit and our own energy, whatever is true for us inside of us. It can hold us back from that because we are so focused on that external, oh, my dad was so amazing or my parents were so amazing. And, this is where consciousness comes in because we can have this dynamic and be conscious of it and therefore be careful of it and watch ourselves with it and watch ourselves when we are with others that we're mentoring or with our own children or our own nieces, nephews, grandchildren, what have you. It's almost like if you know that one of your ankles is a little bit weaker than the other one, when you're on rough terrain, you're just taking a little extra care. You're not super paranoid and you're also not just, going carelessly into the the highly rooted and rough trails and going to injure yourself. You're being observant. And so you are watching yourself. That's a consciousness. It's not that we never have these things, but if we are conscious of them, then we can navigate around them instead of letting them hold us stuck and just having these rose-colored glasses on if we're idolizing our parents in some way and not realizing it, and therefore not really seeing, in an extreme case, not seeing our own children for who they are and just making sure that all the standards that mom and dad had, those are the ones. Okay, so I feel like I defined those as well as I can. If you have questions, though, please tell me in the comments. And I'm super happy. I need to start saying that in these videos. I'm really happy to interact with people in the comments. If you have any questions, any thoughts, and please, by the way, please like this video, subscribe to the channel. We are really looking to grow and reach more people, help more and more people become more and more conscious. So what's the answer? If it's not resenting and being unconscious over here, resenting and being unconscious over here, idolizing, yes, consciousness is always helpful. And there's something here beautiful in the middle that I am going to offer you, regardless of whether your mother, father, guardian, aunt, uncle, grandmother, grandfather, whoever was the main influence for you or the main influences in raising you, whether there's a long list of things that they did great and you're super happy, or there's a long list of things where you're like, geez, I wish I could have changed all of these. And maybe there are long lists on each side. Here's how we transform those lists. We transform them from idolatry to, I really appreciate that my mom was able to teach me this through her great example. And that's wonderful. And I'm going to embody that in my own way. But it's so wonderful that I had that role model. She was a role model for me, right? And then on this side, wow, I really would have wished that my parents would have, could have XYZ, but I'm really grateful that they showed me how, and they helped me see how I don't want to be. They sort of gave me like a warning, hey, warning sign. And like, I'll give my own example here. I love my parents. My parents are incredible. Um, and growing up, I kind of wondered, wow, I'm not really sure, you know, I'm not sure why my parents got together because this is not what I would imagine for myself in terms of like a relationship. I would not want to live um, with someone like this. And then they ended up divorcing. And once they divorced, it seemed like their relationship got better. So I am grateful to my parents, and this is an example I want to share with you. I'm grateful to my parents for showing me how I did not want to be and helping me, therefore, to think, okay, well, if this is what I don't want, that's one thing to say, but then what do I want? Because you can say, well, I don't like strawberry ice cream, but if there's 37 flavors, what do you want? And so it's great to know that you don't like strawberry, but what do you want? And so then it really had me thinking about, okay, what do I want in a life partner? Do I want to get married? How do I want that to look? And what's important to me? Um, so that is how we transform. It's sort of like, thank you for being a role model here. How can I move forward and implement this in my own way? Or thank you for showing me a choice that I would not want for myself and helping me to think through what I do want. So I hope that's helpful. In terms of consciousness, if you are really ready to become more conscious, and when I say that, I'm going to offer this as a metaphor. Those magic eye books where you can look at it from across the room and it just looks like a lot of swirls. And it's kind of pretty, but when you get closer, the magic distance, and you defocus your eyes, suddenly something pops out at you and you see something that people just walking by cannot see. You see something very, very clearly that other people can't. That's what I mean. That's what we mean when we're talking about consciousness, seeing things differently. Not, yeah, I'm aware of this, I'm aware of that, but seeing it differently. It's incredible. Key of diet. Key of diet. The link is in the description. That's all I have for today. So I look forward to hearing your comments. Maybe you have a share, maybe it's something that you've observed in the world or in yourself. Would love to hear from you. Take good care, and I will see you next time.